Day one of American Basketball Media Days. We just heard from Commissioner Mike Oresco. Always great to have him here in the studio with us. East Carolina, the Pirates are going to get things going for us. The first of our schools that we'll hear from today, followed up then by Temple, Wichita State, Houston, and SMU. 5 schools. We'll hear from the other 6 tomorrow. And as we take a look at what happened last year in American women's basketball, a lot of parity, a lot of fun last year with UCF finishing at the top. Of course, they have a new head coach. South Florida there at number 2, Tulane, Temple, SMU, Toelle Wilson getting her team to finish there in the top 5. Houston, Memphis, Tulsa, Wichita State, East Carolina, and Cincinnati rounding out the final standings there and how things went down in the 2021-2022 season. But of course, it's a brand new season. Anything can happen. Even though these East Carolina women's Pirates were picked last year in the coaches poll, anything can happen. And head coach Kim McNeil certainly firing her team up, getting them going, ready for this season.
Taking charges, diving on the floor, closing up traps, walling up, rebounding. Take pride in rebounding. Take pride in taking charges. Take pride in walling up. Take pride in closing up traps. Take pride in breaking on balls. All right, our little things look different than other people's little things. Our little things help win games for us. We do that so that big things will happen. All right, we take care of the little things so that big things will happen. Let's go get it.
Taking care of the little things. That's Kim McNeil's message as they head into this season. Her 4th there for the Pirates. Last year, they finished 4-11 in the conference, and they ended up losing in the tournament in the first round to Memphis. But new year, new expectations for these East Carolina Pirates. And now we welcome in the 4th-year head coach, Kim McNeil. Coach, this is a team that is certainly known for gritty defense, tough. How have you seen that here from your 6 new players so far this season?
Yeah, good morning, Morgan. Thank you for having us this morning. You know, we've had some really good practices. You know, you mentioned we do have 6 new players, but when we recruit, we look for those gritty kids that want to come in and play defense. So I feel like they fit in. You know, they're bringing the energy every day, and they're trying to get after it and do what we do, and that's defend and play hard.
We're now going to toss things over to Chuck Sullivan with the American Athletic Conference, who's going to field some questions for the media. Chuck, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Morgan. And again, to members of the media, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom to get into the queue. To ask a question, we'll start with Patrick Johnson, please, from the game in Greenville.
Hi, Coach. Good to see you again, and looking forward to the start of the season. You talked about those 6 newcomers, and one of them a top recruit right in your own backyard with Amaya Joyner. She has a lot of expectations of her. How has her preseason gone? And what are your expectations for her coming up in this season?
You know, obviously Amaya's a freshman, and freshmen have their woes. You know, but I'm really excited at what she's been able to do thus far. You know, this whole environment for her is new, and I think she's made an adjustment. I think her teammates have done a really good job helping her get through, helping her in practice, keeping her encouraged. You know, she's very hard on herself, sometimes harder than I am, and she can get in her head. But her teammates have really done a good job trying to keep her positive. You know, when she's locked in, she's dominant. I mean, from both aspects of the floor, being able to rebound and start to break for us, shooting the 3, posting up, unbelievable passer, very unselfish. And so I think she's making everybody around her better, and not only herself.
Okay, we'll take the next question from Stephen Igo, please. Voice the Colors, 24/7 Sports.
Coach, you guys had not only a number of talented freshmen, but also some transfers. How have you seen them acclimate, and how have you seen just the transfer portal change college basketball over the last number of years?
Yeah, you know, we have 2 transfers in Kimura and Micah. And obviously they've been at a very high level. You know, Kimura coming from a situation where she didn't get to play that much at Georgia. So this is almost like her freshman year. But she understands the pace. She understands how hard we need to go. So that transition for her has been pretty easy. You know, Micah, on the other hand, she averaged 18 or 19 minutes at Oklahoma State. So she understands and a little bit more comfortable being out there on the floor. You know, she's a point guard for us, and she's doing a good job at leading the team. You know, still staying on her about being a little bit more vocal and getting everybody in their spots. But those two have done a really good job and are fitting in really well. The portal has changed things completely. From every year, you just don't know what your team is going to look like. You don't know what other teams are going to look like. And so, obviously we've been bitten by the portal, but we've also got some success from the portal. And it's just changed things completely. For me, chemistry is really, really big. And when you're adding 6 or 7 new kids every single year and you're starting over from scratch, it's hard to develop that chemistry. But I've been extremely lucky to have great young women, that understand what we're trying to build at ECU. And regardless of what year it is, it'll always be about our culture, always be about our family, and not just being successful on the court, but being successful off the court. And they understand that. So from that aspect, it makes my life a little bit easier.
Coach, we'll take the next question from Patrick Mason with the Daily Reflector in Greenville, please.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? I'm just kind of curious, with some of these new players and just with the kind of unique style of basketball you guys do play, just very defensive oriented, how those former players have kind of helped bring along some of the younger kids into this program.
Yeah, with Tiara Chambers, starting, I guess, her 4th year under our system, 5th year at ECU, and Sania starting her, 3rd year, and Alexia Rose and those guys with the experience that they have, they understand, they get it, they know our philosophy defensively. So you can see them at any point in practice, pulling the young kids over, pointing out different things, encouraging them, telling them to stay with it, because sometimes it can get very frustrating when you're starting a new system. But they've done a really good job doing their leadership role with, naming Sania captain, Tierra captain, and Danae captain this year. They've just stood out amongst the leadership, been here all summer, working really, really hard. So, I'm really, really happy with what they've done from a leadership standpoint. But, we have eager young kids that want to learn. They want to be involved. So I think that's made, the captain's jobs easier. It's made my jobs easier, because they want to be a part. They are completely bought in.
Okay, we'll go back to Patrick Johnson for a follow-up, please.
Yeah, Coach, just wanted to talk a little bit about scheduling. Obviously, with UConn leaving a few years ago, I know there was a premium put on, especially in the non-conference portion, scheduling a little differently. So as you put this schedule together, with all the things you've talked about, with having to get this team ready, bunch of new faces to try to get them to be on the same page, just seems like there's a lot of things that maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago when you're putting together a non-conference schedule for a young team, you got to consider some different things now. So could you just go into a little bit of the game plan when putting together the schedule this year?
Yeah, for us, fortunately, we're in a location where there's a lot of great schools around us. So every year, we want to play some Power Fives, but we also want to set the schedule up for us to be successful, to build confidence, in this team, to teach them how to win, not only the young kids, but the returnees. And if you look at our schedule, we have our first 5 games at home. So the point of that is to come off to a good start, build some confidence and continue to go from there. We've had a lot of conversations with the players on how we built this schedule this year, and we've tried to build it for us to be successful. And once we start conference play, to give us some really good confidence.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. Really looking forward to seeing your team get things going here in just a few short weeks.
Thank you.
Brooke Mark, when you listen to what she said, culture, all of those things, I mean, this is a team that lost to UCF by just 9 points last season. They rise to the occasion. They play teams tough. What's it going to take for them to really move the needle in the conference standings?
What I like and what I heard from Coach McNeil was that there's competitiveness, there's confidence, and there's focus on the little things, right? Taking charges, diving on the floor for loose balls. Those are the little things that will build chemistry, especially when you have a new team and new pieces. I mean, Mark, you know this, like the preseason is all about just trying to get all of that kind of bad apple and all those bad habits out of the way. When you got a new team like that, you have to come together and just give up your ego. And Coach McNeil has that. I think she has buy-in from her team. So, 4 wins in the AAC, that's not going to be the case this year for ECU. They're going to move up.
Yeah, I love the focus on family. We mentioned earlier in the show about Coach McNeil and her husband, Corey, being the associate head coach, and she is the head coach. And she's been described as a people's coach versus a player's coach. Brooke, you know her much better than I do. You've observed this program. What does that mean, being a people's coach?
It means being relatable. It means speaking to you as a human being, not you're a player that plays for me and I'm in a dictative role that I can tell you what to do, right? It's, hey, what can we do to get the best out of this situation? You know, when you can relate, especially today's players with NIL deals, with social media, coaches have to find a way to really speak to the player that is today, not the player that was 20, 25 years ago. Coach McNeil does that.
And it's about setting that foundation as you move forward, and obviously that foundation has been set, and that's why I think East Carolina at number 11 right now is really an X-factor team, because they've got good players coming back. They've got coaches that have established that ground floor. Yeah. And to rebuild a program, you sort of have to blow it up first. You've got to set your foundation and then build on that. And I think that's what Coach McNeil is doing right now. And I sense a little different sense of confidence from her, that they're building those fundamentals, as you mentioned. I mean, let's get some skin on the floor. Let's take those charges. And that's where, at East Carolina, it's not an easy place to win for the men or the women in this league. Yeah. This is one heck of a basketball league. And rebuilding this league, you got to be special. And this husband-wife team, I think, is really different, especially because think about it. If you came into my home, I have all sons, by the way, but if it was my daughter, which you're old enough to be my daughter, by the way, just like my twin sons, and Morgan, if they came to me and said, this is a husband and wife team, and here's the family atmosphere that we bring, man, I'd be all in. I'd be all in on that message.
Maya Joyner, really excited to also hear about the freshman, the potential that she really has this season. But a few of the more veteran players, we're going to hear from them here first. Synia Johnson and Tiara Chambers, great to be joined by both of them. We're going to send things on over to Chuck Sullivan with The American for some questions from the media.
Thanks, Morgan. And again, if you have questions for the student athletes, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom, and we'll go to you in the order that they come in. We'll start first with Patrick Mason from the Daily Reflector, please, in Greenville.
Hey guys, how's it going? I guess this is kind of for both you guys, but for Sania, I know you kind of closed the season getting a bunch of steals, just doing some really good work defensively, and as you as well, Tierra, with just blocking the ball and I'm playing some good rebounding. I mean, how do you guys can take that defensive I guess skills into the next year, and how do you kind of show some new players how that's the way you guys play?
I'll start. So yeah, like you said, defense is like our number one priority, especially with Coach Kim. In practices, that's what we're harping on a lot. I think Coach Kim had mentioned it. Being that I've been here for like 3 years now, I know what they're looking for, especially in our defenses and the things that we run and our presses, half-court defense. So for me, defense is something that I also take pride in a lot. So like you said last year, towards the end of the season, me coming in, trying to get those steals. I'm coming in with the same mindset this year, trying to do the same thing. And then in practices, just helping the younger ones or the new people coming in with the fact that I do know the defense a little bit more.
Yeah, defense is definitely a thing that we harp on in practice, and it's our identity. So, yeah, that's definitely a thing that we want to do every day and really establish that to the younger players.
Okay, we'll go next to Patrick Johnson, the game in Greenville.
Yes, ladies, great to see you both. Could you maybe just talk about maybe some of the work you put in the offseason where you feel like that your games have maybe grown from last year to what you're anticipating this season?
Definitely for me, wanted to be more of a offensive point for the team this year. So definitely just working, shots around the rim, shot more, and just getting myself more in better shape for the games.
Yeah, for me, it was more getting my three more consistent. I know that being on the court, it's important and crucial that I'm able to hit the outside shot. So in the off season, being more consistent with that was definitely a focus. Also implementing my pull-up a lot more, working within the offense and getting that.
Okay, we'll go next to Stephen Igo, please. Hoist the colors. Greenville.
Yeah, we talked just recently with the coach about the newcomers into the program. Just curious for either of you, who among those newcomers has really stood out, and how have they acclimated to the program as a whole?
I think each and every one of them has stood out in their own way. Having 6 new players is a lot. From our freshmen, they've all came in and they're ready to work. So it's made the job a little bit easier in terms of trying to help them. I find myself many times throughout practices talking to them, trying to just encourage them, because as a freshman or even just a newcomer on a new team, learning a new offense, a whole new coach, it can be hard at times. So just trying to talk to them, but they've all adapted very well. So it's been kind of made our jobs a little bit easier in terms of helping them.
Yeah, I think their transition from high school to college was definitely very smooth for them. And it's just easy to talk to them because they really retain the information that you tell them and then go out and do it for you.
Okay, we'll take the next one from Christopher Heidel from Herb FM Radio.
Hi, this question is for Saliva. It's you, number 4. This is Chris Heidel from Herb FM Radio in Baltimore. You're from Maryland, so what's it like playing, coming from the state of Maryland to play at East Carolina?
I would say it definitely is a little different in terms of the environment to what I'm used to. But the transition for me hasn't been hard from Maryland to North Carolina. So, but I like it here a lot. The environment, the fans, just the culture here. In terms of it being like a college town, I feel like everyone is very supportive. So it's been easy.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go next to Patrick Mason again from Daily Reflector.
Tiara, this is the first time you've shot over 50% from the floor in your career. And I'm just kind of curious maybe what it took to get to that point, and if you still, if whatever worked, you think you can kind of keep that going for this year and, do anything more scoring wise?
Definitely just building confidence with the team and just getting extra workouts with the coach, really building that confidence up. And yeah, hopefully translate that, do the same thing this year, and hopefully that translates to the court.
Hey, Tierra and Sania, it's Brooke Weisbrod here and in the studio. I'm always curious about teams that love to play defense, because 99% of high school players do not want to learn really how to play defense at that college level. But you all seem to really enjoy it, thrive on it, want to take those charges. What is it about Coach McNeil, her system, or something that you do in practice that helps you get to that point where you really embrace that defensive mentality?
Yeah, so even during the recruiting process for me, I knew what kind of team this was. I knew how Coach Kim and the coaching staff was. They're full of energy. They're very passionate. And I think that's kind of what harps on the defense. Even in practices, she's coming at us. She's very energetic. And that's what she expects out of us. So every day we make an emphasis on just bringing energy. And that goes into the defense. Like you said, you have to want to. Getting steals for us, it gets us hype, and it's something that also gets us going. Being able to get out and transition from those steals is also something that else gets us going. So we know that that's important for us.
Yeah, I just feel when you have coaches bringing that energy about defense and practice, it just really builds you up and once you go out there and get it.
Sania, Tiara, thank you guys so much for joining us. Really looking forward to seeing you all tip off the season here very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.